I'm with Ian Valentine, who is the business director of the video test product line for Tektronix. Ian, can you tell us what exactly you're doing in this region now?
Yeah, sure. So I've been into the region now for about a week.
Yeah.
I came over really because Europe and the Middle East in particular are big growing areas for Tektronix. There's a lot of business and a lot of dynamic things happening in the market here from a broadcast perspective. I think one of the things that we're starting to see is that there's a big transition in terms of HD in this part of the world, and Tektronix have been in HD for a long time, and we have a lot of technologies to help support that transition. The other thing that I've noticed in this part of the world actually is the move towards things like file-based infrastructure as a means of being more efficient with the way people run their businesses and manage their business. Again, it's one of the things that Tektronix is at the forefront of in terms of doing that. So it's a very interesting part of the world to be in.
What are some of the technical trends you see across the market? Across
the whole world in general?
Yeah.
So I think there's a number of those. One which I mentioned, which was the transition really to IP and file-based environments.
Right.
And that is driving the different kinds of infrastructure that you start to see within a broadcast facility. I think the other big trend that we're starting to see actually is in the front end of the process. The use now of much more higher resolution technologies like 4K as a means of capturing your content right up front. The aim being that you capture your content in the highest possible format to start with and then edit as you go through the chain. So I think they're the biggest trends. From an economic perspective, we see increasingly now many of our customers will talk to us about the fact if your technologies or the business won't help me either make money or save money, then there's less interest in it. And so that's another very large trend that we've seen, particularly in the dynamics of the industry.
Okay. What are some of the challenges for a test and measurement manufacturer given that particular situation?
Well, for test and measurement manufacturers specifically, the challenge, of course, is to stay in front of the technologies.
Yeah.
If you think about anyone who's trying to develop any technology to move forward with, be it 3G, 3D, 4K, they're going to need test equipment. And what that means to test equipment manufacturers is actually we have to be ahead of our customer base. And so that's actually the challenge.
Right.
In many cases, we're entering into areas that there are no standards or the standards aren't clear, and really there's new technologies that we need to develop to help our customers.
Is there a variation in the kind of equipment you'd have to produce, for example, to monitor the content on, say, new media platforms as opposed to traditional media?
In some sense, I think there is. Again, as I mentioned, the IP side. So actually what we're seeing increasingly now is software tools.
Yeah.
We're seeing an increase in software tools, particularly for QC and file-based environments.
Right.
And the traditional hardware tools now are used in slightly different ways as you go into the broadcast network. But still essentially the same idea. It's all about QC and quality of what's being delivered.
You've come for the first time to the professional seminar series. What do you think about, what are the kinds of questions that people here are asking?
So it's quite interesting. Well, the feedback I've had so far is that most people are finding it very informative.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity to hear about different technologies and how they're used is a good thing. The interesting thing for me was some of the feedback I've had is that although at the moment one of the big drivers is the transition to HD, actually a lot of the discussions at the seminar today are about the next steps. In fact, the delivery to multi-screens and new technologies, and that's actually driving a lot of interest because people are seeing the opportunity that as they do this transition, they'll actually take it further and hopefully move towards a leadership position.
Thank you, Ian.
My pleasure.